Everybody, it's nice to be back with you. I know it's only been about a week since my last video, but it feels like it's been a much longer time because I've spent the last week in Iceland. There's a couple things I want to share with you from that trip. So one is my souvenir fragrance that I got from Iceland from an Iceland perfumer. So this is my first from this perfumer, Andrea Maack. I don't have any other perfumes from this brand, and I'm excited to have one, and I'm excited that I got it in Iceland, which is where they're made and where the company is from. And then I want to share a little bit of a perfume combo that I wore that week that was kind of exciting. And I want to share a few tips for saving money if you're going to buy perfumes while traveling or other luxury goods. So let's get into that. I went there for work and I did some personal fun stuff while I was there. Not as much as I would have liked, but I did get to do a little bit of a few things. I went to an amazing restaurant called Dill, which is the first Michelin star restaurant in Iceland. That was delicious. It kind of felt like I was in the movie The Menu, to be honest. The presentation was so over the top, but the food was amazing, and I'm so happy that I was able to get a reservation and go there. I saw some of the just natural geography and some of the amazing things that make Iceland beautiful. I got to see the mountains in the distance. There had been a relatively recent volcano eruption, and so some of the things had been shut down and places were closed and whatnot, but it wasn't really near where I was. I was in Reykjavik, which is the capital city there, and where most people are. So mostly what I needed to do was available, but I didn't have a whole lot of time to explore and to get out of the city. So I did the main downtown area shopping. I did a little bit of sightseeing and exploring. One of the most amazing things about Iceland that I noticed was how interesting the sky looks. The perspective of the moon, which sounds weird, but it was almost like the moon was just beyond the clouds. It was huge from where I was standing, for where I could see it. Even as we were flying in, it looked like we were like flying above the moon. If I know that doesn't make any sense, but that's kind of what it looked like. And I was like, oh, that's so weird. And I thought it must just be the angle of the plane somehow. But the next day, even in the middle of the day when the sun was up, you could still see the moon. It was huge, and it just seemed so close, relatively speaking. It was like somebody stuck it there, like a cartoon, just like this big globe, this big orb in the sky. It was pretty amazing. It was beautiful. So I'm really glad that I went there. And so Andrea Maack is an Iceland perfume company. It's a brand that is made in Iceland and from Iceland. There's several perfumes that they have. I think the newest one is called Supernova. It's on the little canvas bag that's in the background here. They were really advertising that one, but that wasn't my favorite. I was going to let myself get a couple of them, but when it came down to it, there was really only one that I just felt like I really had to have. And you can get this brand basically anywhere. So this is not hard to find. You can search for this brand and you can get it. But I like when I get a perfume in the country where it's made, because it's just even all that more special of a souvenir. So I went looking for perfumeries, and there were only two. So you could buy perfume in the mall there, and I did go to the mall. I didn't see a lot of niche stuff, but you had Lancome, you had Chanel, you had Dolce & Gabbana, you had all the usual suspects. And then they had these little perfume boutique shops downtown, and things closed pretty early there. They closed at like 7 o'clock, and they weren't open at all on Sunday when I arrived. So I had to act fast because I was going like in between meetings and the reason that I was there. And I was able to go to a shop that sold this, and I was able to pick one up. So let me tell you about Andrea Maack Soft Tension. So the main accords for this one are musky, which I love, of course, floral, woody, powdery, aromatic, mossy, earthy, fresh, spicy. And the top notes, middle notes, and base notes are all just listed in a big bundle. They're not listed separately on Fragrantica, and it's just musk, freesia, I don't know if that's mate or if there's some other way to pronounce that, moss, and cedar. So what I get when I first spray this is I get a very light and pleasant floral scent. Like, I assume that that's the freesia, but it smells almost a little rosy, and musk. And then I get like this kind of green, but fresh green on top. Not dirty, not dusty, not deep, just like a fresh green lightness on top. And that's about as green as I want to get with my fragrances. I'm not super into the green notes, at least from the perfumes that I've tried, but I can handle it when it's blended this way. And it sort of stays there, and as it dries down, the musk comes forward, the floral goes back, and the green sort of stays lingering on the surface. So you continue to get the green, you continue to get the musk, you continue to get a floral sort of floating through, but then kind of the woody base, I assume in the base, takes over. And what you're left with is a soft, musky, woody, pleasant, fresh fragrance. The green and the musk give it a freshness. The woody base gives it depth. And the floral gives it a feminine touch. It's definitely a feminine perfume as far as I'm concerned, and the floral notes are what do that for me. So I would recommend finding a way to try these. There's several that I thought were really nice and that I wouldn't mind having, but this is the one that I wanted to pick up, and this is the one that I thought really stood out of the ones that I tried as something I wanted to have now. Recommend trying Andrea Maack perfume if you're interested in expanding your collection to include a perfume from Iceland. So the next thing I wanted to talk about with you is how to save money on perfume and other items when you travel. For those of you who travel frequently or have traveled at least from the US to other countries, you've probably experienced this, but I want to share the good news for those who haven't yet tried it. So, number one, prices are different in different countries. That's probably not news or that shocking. But what you might not know is that prices can be like wildly different. For example, when I was in China, there was a Gap and lots of other US-based stores or US-based companies that have stores there. And the price of a shirt, like a t-shirt or a sweatshirt or something like that from Gap, was much more expensive in China than it would be at the local Gap. And you're thinking, but aren't a lot of those clothes and a lot of the goods that we buy here made in China? Wouldn't they be cheaper there? And you would think that would be the case. Somehow, being made in China and shipping them to the US, they're cheaper than being made in China and sold in China. So shop around. If you're going to another country for vacation or otherwise, then check out what things are cheaper there. The best deal that I've gotten in a difference in price so far is I bought a Louis Vuitton wallet in Paris. And just taking the price that they quoted me and then converting that to US dollars, and then looking on the Louis Vuitton US website, it was at least $200 cheaper to buy it in Paris. But wait, there's more. Here is the amazing thing. No matter what the price is, usually when you are traveling to another country, there's something called a value-added tax on lots of goods. You can get that tax back if you don't live in that country on your way out of the country. So if you're there as a tourist and you buy something and then traveling back to your country, there is a kiosk, or sometimes several, at the airport that if you take your receipt for your item there along with this like form that they give you, and it varies by country, you fill out the little form, and sometimes they will give you your cash back right on the spot. Sometimes they will mail it to you. Sometimes it will go right back to your credit card automatically. But it is amazing. And you can get back, so like on a purchase like this, that was, I think it was 100 some odd US dollars. The value added tax would have been like $20, $30, $40. I don't remember exactly. But I would get that back at the airport. And I bought a couple other things. I brought some fun clothes, or like cold weather gear from this brand called Icewear that makes cold weather clothes and hats and scarves and gloves and all that stuff. I bought a few things for myself and some souvenirs for my kids and my husband and whatnot. And I got my value added tax refund at the airport on my way out. So for those things. And I've done it for perfumes and bags and all kinds of things. So make sure you, every time you shop overseas for something that's more than a few bucks, if it's, you know, it has to be expensive enough to make it worthwhile for you. You probably don't want to go stand in line at the kiosk and fill out the paperwork for, you know, $3. Maybe you do, but if you're running late and you're at the airport and you've got other things to do, that might not be worth it. But for $20, $30, $50, $200, most definitely, at least in my opinion. So you have to get the form for value-added refunds from the store that you purchased the item, and you need to hold on to your receipt. But you don't have to like, I mean, so I'm giving generalities, right? Like, check with the country, check with the store when you buy the thing. They're totally familiar with the process, and they'll tell you how to do it. But get the paperwork you need. It's usually very, very simple, like a form that's like your name and maybe your contact information, and then where the money goes if they're sending it to you, or they'll just literally open a drawer and give you the cash on the spot. So do that, because when you find out how much you're paying for it, maybe even a discount for buying it in country, and then you subtract the tax refund, you can end up getting a very good discount on some items that usually are never discounted, right? Like Louis Vuitton doesn't have sales. I mean, maybe they do, but I would assume they're very infrequent and probably not on very much. So the way to get a discount on an item like that, unless you're going to buy it used or pre-loved, as they say, then buy it when you're on holiday, when you're on travel, and get the tax back, get a discount for buying it elsewhere if it's cheaper in that country, and you'll be great. Now, of course, you have to be traveling for that, right? So you might not want to take a trip for that purpose, but I do have a friend who went to Paris for shopping because she intended to do some damage at Cartier, and I would be willing to bet that the money she saved paying Paris prices and getting her refunds was worth the ticket in the hotel. I would bet when you're talking about that kind of savings. So just a tip. I hope that you will try that next time you're traveling, because it can be a lot of fun and save a lot of money. So the last thing I wanted to share is what I wore all week long. So when I travel, I tend to I travel a lot lighter than I used to. And especially if I'm traveling for work, because I'm really there for business and I've got things to do and I've got meetings all day. And I do like to go out and I like to see the place, and definitely, you know, I've got to eat, so I try nice restaurants and I do all of that as much as I can. But I'm up early, I'm jet lagged, but I've got to hit the ground running anyway. I don't have a whole lot of time to pamper and enjoy it. I'm in a hotel, which doesn't feel, it could be nice, but it's still not home. Plus you got to carry it around with you, right? So over the years, especially for business travel, I've traveled lighter and lighter just in what I take with me. And I leave a little space for the shopping for when I return. And as far as perfumes go, I try to take sample size perfumes, not the little teeny sample things, because I find sometimes they can be like a little messy, like they'll leak or they'll something, and I don't want to have to fuss with that. I will do it, but my preference is to have something that's just like a smaller size. So I do have several perfume bottles that are in smaller sizes, just they're regular perfume bottles, but I got like the 1 ounce or the 1.5. And then I have a few like sample size or travel size perfumes, and I have a couple of the Kayali ones. And I brought these two with me to Iceland, and I thought this is just what I'll wear. Now, it was cold in Iceland. It is winter, it was cold. And so I was sort of wondering, how's Kayali gonna hold up? One, like all day long, because I'm not going back to my hotel in between meetings and freshening up. This is it. And two, in the freezing cold weather, where like I'm bundling up on my way out and I've got a coat and all that, and then like I was able to walk to a lot of places I needed to go. So it's like, will I smell it as I'm walking in this freezing cold? Will I smell it when I take my coat off? Will it have evaporated by then? And let me tell you, these two really, like, they were stars of the show. So this is the Kayali Vanilla Royale Sugared Patchouli 64. I mean, this is just the sample size, nothing really to look at. And then this is the Love Fest Burning Cherry 48. I brought these two because they're kind of deeper, bolder scents, and I thought maybe they could hold up. I was shocked at how good these did in the like very freezing cold weather. Literally freezing. It was ice all over the ground. It snowed every day. Not only did they hold up, not only did they last all day, and not only could I smell them through the cold, they cut through the cold perfectly, but a couple of days while I was there, I combined them, and they were a fantastic combination. It gave me very much, dare I say it, Baccarat Rouge vibes. Now, I know every perfumer and their grandma is making a Baccarat Rouge dupe, and everybody compares everything that smells a little like burnt sugarish to Baccarat Rouge. I get that. But really, it doesn't smell like Baccarat Rouge, but it gave me that kind of vibe. Really, as I was walking around and it would just like waft into my nose, I thought, oh, this smells a lot. And that's not why I put them together. That wasn't the plan. That's just how they came together. It was fantastic. So if you have these two, or if you don't get a hold of them, try them, because they really do. They stand out and they stay on, but try them together. Now, Kayali fragrances are really great for layering in general, but I might not have thought to put those two together naturally, and there we have it. So the last thing that I want to say before I let you go is thank you so much for those of you who have subscribed. I know that this is a tiny channel and that I'm just getting into all this and I'm just learning, and I'm still doing the giveaway. As of this filming, I'm 6 subscribers away from the first giveaway that I want to do. So please, if you could help me get there by subscribing, leaving a comment, maybe sharing the video with somebody so that we can get those last 6, and then it's on to the next round of giveaway. But I'm excited to hit that first milestone. And I want to say that even for this little community, this little group of people, I can tell that there are some people who've come back to watch more than one video. Some people have left me comments on multiple videos, and just telling me like what you think about things and stuff you'd like to see more of, and what you liked and what you didn't like, and your thoughts on it. And just even already, I'm just so grateful and having such a good time. And I hope that I will continue to make content that will bring you back. And I do plan on making a lot more things and covering a wider spectrum of topics. I really do hope to have a channel trailer up soon so that you can just know who I am and why I'm on YouTube and what I'm about and what I hope this channel will become. And so I'm looking forward to that, but I got a little bit more work to do on it. But I do already have some things planned and I'm super excited. So I just wanted to say thank you. Please do subscribe, like the video, share with someone, leave a comment, do all the things. Hopefully we get those last 6 very soon. And so until next time, take care.